Monday, time for our weekly chat with Yeo Sha-En. Yo. What is going on? It's Gloria Estefan, and turn the beat around. Give me a bit of a heart attack there this morning. Hello. Welcome to the Brightside. We're hanging out with Yeo Sha-En, Singapore's very first happiness scientist. She's a 2-time TEDx speaker, #1 best-selling author. Welcome back, Sha-En.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
The lady that gives me so much great advice about parenting. Happy Mother's Day.
Thank you, my dear.
All right, so today we're talking about finding purpose, a topic that's very close to our hearts. And we often hear the phrase, find your passion and purpose, and you'll never have to work a day in your life. Is this true?
I would say that if you turn your passion into something where you can generate money, then it probably feels like that. Because when you wake up, you feel like, I'm raring to go. You feel excited. You feel energized.
Yeah.
But if you're not able to make a living from it, then maybe you might feel like, how am I going to keep myself going? So I think it's important to find that passion, but we also need to keep ourselves sustainable. At least that's what I believe.
Yeah.
It is the reality of things, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but is there a difference between passion and purpose? Which one should we be pursuing?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, passion is about being very interested and, being internally motivated to go and pursue it. But I think purpose goes bigger than that. Purpose is like you feel connected to something that's larger than yourself. And sometimes you can't quite explain it. It's like it's a fuel that comes from within. You know how some people say, I knew I was supposed to do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's more like purpose.
Okay.
But of course, passion can be part of purpose too. So like a subset, right? Yeah.
So is purpose also like calling?
Yes, that's how I would look at it.
Yeah, like my calling in life to do this. So how do we go about discovering our purpose? What are some of the signs that give us an indication of it?
I think sometimes we need to listen to our gut. We go and do something, we're like, oh, that felt so good. When sometimes then the little voice comes out, it's like, this one your mother say, it's not going to be profitable or not make you money, so you dull it down. And even though I started by saying like we need to be sustainable, it doesn't mean we ignore that voice. I think we can explore it. We must allow ourselves to enjoy what our gut is telling us.
Quick question. You know how it is as you get older, right? Your gut feel, listening to that little inner voice, you tend to be a little bit kind of like desensitized to it, given the harsh realities of, life, adulting. How can we like amplify that gut feel and, listening to that inner voice?
Give it space. It's trying to talk to you. Like if your friend's talking to you, you're going to shut them out. No, right? It's the same thing. We give it space. And then, for example, if we find that we are really passionate about growing plants, then, visit the flower center, start with one plant, nurture it, see how it grows and see how you feel about it. Sometimes that initial gut feel, you still need to spend time and then constantly check in. It's like, how do I feel about this? When I wake up in the morning, when I look at my plant, does it bring me joy? Little questions like that can give us an indication. And if that sustains over time, then I think that's something that becomes internal.
So something that gets you excited, something that gives you joy, kind of like shopping lah.
So I was like, when is it going to come back to shopping?
That one, my little voice is loud and clear.
How do we distinguish the two? I mean, what if you really do enjoy it? It's like my purpose in life is to buy stuff.
It is my calling. Yes, that one is clear. Yes. How?
I think it's also about having a positive impact and contribution. We like to distinguish between big picture purpose, which is like, I'm going to save the world. But not all of us want to like save the world, right?
Yes.
But then there's also small picture purpose, which I call, how am I making a contribution to my life, to other people's life, to the community around me. And if we go in with contribution, then we can make an impact to just one person. We can make an impact to a small group of persons. We can make an impact to a community, or you can make an impact to the whole world, right?
Yes.
Yeah, but it starts with that, and it starts with something small.
I love that because then it gets you looking outward towards the world, not so much insular, always looking at yourself, but looking towards the community and how this can also benefit the community.
Yeah, so like you're shopping, right? You can say like, I like to shop. How can that benefit others? You can recommend things to other people, styling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, these are things that help people, and that's how you can, Carol.
Yeah.
I will try that now.
Lavinia,
like,
I just want to go
my shopping.
We laugh about it, but at the end of the day, this is something that still, it's about finding the meaning in the things that we do.
That's right.
Which is what we're talking about today as well. All right, so join us on Facebook.com/1FM91.3. The discussion continues there. But in the meantime, hang tight. More with Sha-En in just a bit.
Good times.
Turn it up.
Everyone.
Hi, everyone. And you know what? If shopping is your calling, I understand. I understand.
Look at the seriousness in her face.
No, but you know what you just shared on air about how it gives so much clarity, in this whole quest of finding purpose in your life. It's about the impact that you can make for yourself, for someone, close to you, or even for, the whole world.
Yeah.
I think that really is that distinguishing factor between passion and purpose. Thank you for that, Sha-En.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Yeah.
It was like when I discovered my purpose, it's not like I knew exactly what to do.
Could you share about that
Yeah,
moment?
so I was listening to this podcast, and then I heard some words like, you could feel uplifted every morning. So I started reading a lot more into different books, and not every book helped me feel that way, right? And then I stumbled upon a video about this program at the University of Pennsylvania, and then I listened to the alumni talk about this program, and it was the first time I came across this program. But when they talked, I just started crying. And then I said, what is this all about? And that made me, I listened to it. I went to read more about it. And eventually I went to do the program. Because it was just like, this is something I have to do.
My goodness.
Yeah.
The kind of sensation.
That's wonderful.
To have that kind of, really shake you at the core, sort of positive life experience, I'm very envious of you. Yeah.
But it's also good that you were trying to listen, you were going through resources to find something that resonated with you. And finally you did come across one.
Yeah.
And that's pretty special because sometimes I think I've listened to podcasts. Yeah, it's not awakening anything inside of me, and then we kind of give up.
Yeah.
But I like that you kept pursuing it. You kept looking around.
Yeah, I guess I have always got questions in my head. Like, what am I supposed to do after my psychology degree? How am I going to use it? And because I keep asking these questions, I actually went to try out different types of psychology.
Yes.
Yes, and I went to this seminar by a was a clinical psychologist, and his wife was a clinical psychologist too. And he said, two of us have really weird conversations in the car talking about our clients. And sometimes they're driving halfway and a client calls. And then they have to pull the car over. So when I listened to that, I said, wow, do I want this to be my life? Is this going to be my day-to-day? And I realized, no, my answer is no. So I think sometimes it's really important to also know what you don't want.
Yeah.
What you don't like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a very good point. I think, these two tips, knowing what you want, knowing what you don't want, and also exploring are great tips on how we can really action upon finding our purpose. I like.
Yeah, there you go.
I promise it
Can
won't be
start-
shopping. I'll do something more purposeful.
Well, even then, I mean, you can, I think like Sha-En says, I was just thinking, there are so many things that people in our community that actually need stuff. And you've been giving away a lot of the things that you have bought.
I have.
So
It's having to make that decluttering thing and really be disciplined about it. If I don't need it, I try to find a home for it.
Yeah.
Even that is purposeful.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, look
So I
at
say
me.
small picture purpose, not only
Saving
about
the world.
saving the world,
One
but,
buy at a
helping
time.
someone.
Hey, that will be my superhero mantra right there.
Hey, I want to say good morning to David Lin. Thank you so much for joining us on Facebook Live. Of course, if you have any questions, feel free to chime in. There's also a chance for you to win a cool prize this morning from United Automobile.
That's right. This is a wonderful bundle worth $230. In it, you're going to find Castro engine oil, engine shampoo, and also, if you are a footy fan, Premier League merchandise. Woohoo! Thank you, United Automobile Services.
Yeah, about to jump back live on air. Have we talked about pursuing our purpose? No, we haven't. Should we all be pursuing our purpose?
I think it depends on your life situation. I think we don't have to give up.
Yeah. Okay, we'll save that special answer for the radio.
Cliffhanger.
Yeah, cliffhanger. I like that. You must tell us about this podcast that you listened to that changed your life, actually.
Yeah, might be a great place for others to start with, you know.
Yeah, trying to remember now.
You can't remember? Oh, no, but you went to the
I
university.
felt the feeling.
I felt the feelings.
I think my sister felt that when she visited a church in Spain. And
Okay.
It just really like, yeah.
Feelings. She was
Feelings,
eating
yeah.
a bao? No,
No,
with
no,
feeling.
no.
No, just kidding. Yeah. Belinda Carlisle, Heaven is a Place on Earth. You're on 1FM 91.3. Good morning.
We got to share about how Sha-En actually found her purpose through a podcast, right? You were just tuning, something really resonated with you. And that's a point that you want to make here, that something will resonate with you. Listen to your inner voice and explore, because that's exactly what you did. Can you share just a little bit about that before we jump into that question?
Yeah, so I was listening to a podcast, and I can't remember exactly which podcast it was, but I think it was something like, you know, you only have this one life. Like, what do you want to do with your life? And I was like, gee whiz, like, what am I doing with my life?
It's very confronting.
Yeah.
Because I think in day out, you just kind of cruise, right? You're on autopilot mode when you go to work, your family and all that. You don't really think about you leaving the legacy behind. I was just reading a quote from Warren Buffett, and he says, if you want to find purpose in your life, write out your obituary and find a way to live out that legacy you've written in your obituary.
Yes,
oh, wow.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So we're talking about finding purpose this morning, right, with Sha-En? So should we all then be pursuing our purpose?
I think it depends on the context that you're in. I think sometimes people think that if we pursue our purpose means we have to give up everything else.
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessary. As we define purpose, we said that it can be an internal drive to do something that's beyond you. And it could be a small contribution on a daily basis. So you could start, like, you know, thinking about people around you. How can I support them? What gives me joy in contributing to them, right? And so we can pursue our purpose daily, but it doesn't have to be that big picture purpose that you have to give up your whole life for.
Like saving the world or solving, you know, hunger, world hunger, that kind of thing.
You know, but don't ignore it. If it calls you, explore it a little bit more every day. And then if it calls you even more, why not do a little bit more? Talk to people about it. I find that when you talk to people, you realize, hey, maybe other people have similar passions or purpose, or maybe they have something different and they can tell you their story. And then you're like, oh yes, maybe it's my turn.
This is good conversation, you know, over some coffee. Let's do it soon. Yeah. I want to ask about this. Could you share with us on some tips on how we can, again, take action to find purpose or meaning in our lives?
I think one of the things we can look at is our strengths. You know, we ask ourselves, what are we good at? And what do we love to do? I think we ask these two questions, and when I ask those questions, I realize that I like to be in front of an audience. I like to share stuff with people. I mean, that's why I became a teacher, I guess. You know, but then I also wanted to improve other people's lives, right? And I just thought, how can I do that? So maybe my voice is the way to do that. Maybe it's my knowledge that's the way to do that. But I think we don't ask that question enough. We always ask, what's wrong with me? What's my weakness? And if we redirect to our strengths, there's so much more energy there. And purpose is like a fuel. It needs energy. You know, if we only ask what's wrong with me, then it's like we're so drained. So ask, what's good with me? What's good about me? What do I love to do? Yeah.
What if you're in a place where you're not really motivated to want to find purpose?
Yeah,
that's a good question.
Yeah, and I mean, it's okay, which is why I say it's not a should. I think if we make it a should, then it creates a lot of pressure. But it doesn't mean that every little voice that comes to you must be a purpose. It could start with just appreciating life. It could just be savoring the little moments. And, you know, it could just be enjoying that first.
Yeah.
It starts in little steps.
Okay, I like that because it then puts, you know, your context, your season into that right context. Because sometimes we wake up, we're feeling a little bit overwhelmed or stressed or anxious about life, and it's very hard to answer those big questions.
Yes.
And so I like what you said about, you know, finding great gratitude, maybe in just being alive for that day. That could be your little purpose.
Yeah, just the little ways first. Like
you
you keep pointing out about how it's not about the big picture purpose, right?
Yeah,
you know, it's
because
just starting
big pictures
small.
feels very inaccessible, isn't it?
Yeah,
And then if it's inaccessible, then why? I don't want to think about it.
Yeah, and I think also because now there's a lot of pressure and stress with rising, you know, inflation, cost of living and all that. People are getting very distracted with the day-to-day, you know, trying to put food on the table, that kind of thing. So maybe the purpose might be taking a back seat for a little while.
Yeah.
So even then, you know, what advice do we have for people who are struggling a little bit?
I would say tend to yourself, be compassionate to yourself. You know, I think sometimes we hear all these narratives that like by 25 I got to know exactly what I want to do in my life. You don't have to. But let's be kind and compassionate and say that I'm still on this journey and I can appreciate what I have in my life. Maybe not everything is going well, and that's okay. Because it may not just be going well for now. Right? But then do pay attention to what is.
Okay.
You know,
I
sometimes
love
we have
that.
blinkers and we only see what's not going well. But
That's
someone
true.
bought me a coffee today. I'm grateful for that.
Wow.
Right?
Nice.
Yeah, it's very hot today. I can do my laundry, but then I love the aircon also because then I can cool off. I mean, it sounds funny, but the little things accumulate,
Yeah.
you know, and then you can feel better, even if you're not
I
finding
love
purpose.
that. She really is the happiness scientist.
She
really
is.
huh?
Yeah. Thank you so much for bringing perspective
You're
to this
welcome.
topic for us this morning. I want to say a special good morning to Hubert Tang, who I recently bumped into, and he
Yeah,
says so
yeah.
inspired by this segment, so inspired by
Oh, I'm
listening
so
to
glad.
your,
Thank you,
your nuggets of
Hubert.
wisdom, Sha-En. Yeah. All right. So thank you so much for joining us again this morning,
Yeah,
Sha-En.
always a pleasure, ladies.
Where can people find you once again?
Okay, on Instagram it's Happiness Scientist, and also on Facebook and on LinkedIn I'm Sha-En Yeo, MABP, CSP.
All right. Chat to you again soon.